Is there a way to easily remove this stubborn layer of rust using only simple materials that almost everyone already has? When trying to saw into a piece of wood, you can see that the blade has almost lost its ability to cut. The saw teeth have become worn and dull. So instead of biting into the wood fibers, the blade simply slides across the surface and creates very little cut. Besides the worn saw teeth, the surface of the blade is also covered with a fairly thick layer of rust from being left for a long time in a humid environment, instead of using harsh chemicals. Today I will take advantage of a few natural ingredients to create a simple rust cleaning mixture. I'll prepare a simple mixture using lemon, potato, and onion. Next, I will cut the potato and onion into small pieces. This will make the blending process easier and also help the ingredients release more of their natural juices when they're crushed. When everything is mixed together and combined with a few additional ingredients, it forms a liquid mixture with mild acidity that can help soften and loosen the rust stuck on the metal surface. After cutting the ingredients into smaller pieces, I will place the onion and carrot into a blender. I will also add a little Coca-Cola. Adding Coca-Cola not only helps thin the mixture so the blender can run more easily, but it can also help support the rust cleaning process. The juice extracted from them will be used to create a solution that helps soften and remove the rust from the metal surface. When everything is mixed together and combined with a few additional ingredients, it forms a liquid mixture with mild acidity that can help soften and loosen the rust stuck on the metal surface. I will also add a small amount of dish soap to the mixture. This ingredient helps improve the cleaning ability by breaking down the layers of dirt and grime stuck on the metal surface. After thoroughly mixing all the ingredients together, the rust cleaning mixture is ready. Now I will bring it over and apply it directly onto the rusty surface of the saw blade. I try to spread the solution evenly across the entire metal surface, especially on areas with heavy rust. I will place a layer of paper towel over the surface. This layer helps keep the mixture in contact with the metal for a longer time, while also allowing the solution to soak evenly into the rusty areas to improve the cleaning effectiveness. Then I will flip the saw blade over to the other side and continue applying the mixture across the entire surface. After evenly applying the mixture to both sides of the saw blade, I will leave it here to sit for about 30 minutes. After about 30 minutes, I will start removing the layer of paper towel from the surface of the saw blade. Then I will use a sheet of sandpaper to gently scrub the surface of the blade. After just a few seconds of gentle sanding, the rust on the surface begins to come off. As the rust is removed, the metal underneath gradually becomes visible, looking brighter and cleaner than before. This shows that the rust has been softened quite well by the earlier mixture, making the cleaning process faster and easier. Now I will continue using sandpaper to clean the entire surface of the saw blade. I will sand evenly from one end of the blade to the other, focusing on the areas where small rust spots remain to make sure the metal surface is completely cleaned. After finishing the sanding, the surface of the saw blade looks much cleaner. Most of the rust has been removed, revealing the metal underneath with a brighter appearance. The surface has also become smoother and more even, with only a few light scratches left from the sanding process. Overall, the saw blade looks noticeably neater and much newer compared to before it was cleaned. However, simply removing the rust is still not enough. Although the surface of the saw blade now looks brighter and cleaner, the saw teeth are still worn and not sharp enough to cut effectively. Before sharpening, I will use a pair of pliers to slightly adjust the angle of the saw teeth. I will bend each tooth just a tiny bit so that they alternate leaning to opposite sides. This needs to be done carefully and evenly, because if the teeth are bent too much or unevenly, the cut will become wider and less clean, and the saw will no longer cut accurately. When starting the sharpening process, you can see that the saw teeth are arranged in an alternating pattern, leaning to opposite sides. This arrangement helps prevent the blade from getting stuck in material and allows it to create a more stable cut. Therefore, while sharpening, I will keep the direction of the teeth as they are and focus only on filing the tips of each tooth. This is a part that directly contacts the material during cutting. So sharpening this area alone can significantly improve the cutting performance. To sharpen the saw teeth, I will use a file. I place the file against the tip of each tooth and then push it in a consistent direction to sharpen the cutting edge. Each tooth will be filed roughly the same number of strokes to ensure that all the teeth have an even level of sharpness. After finishing the sharpening, you can easily notice that the tips of the saw teeth appear brighter. This is because the freshly filed metal has been exposed and has not yet oxidized or darkened like the older surface. These small bright spots on the top of each tooth are the newly sharpened cutting edges, and they are the parts that will come into direct contact with the material during sawing. Now I will try sawing through a piece of wood. As I start sawing into the piece of wood, the blade moves very smoothly and lightly. The teeth quickly bite into the wood fibers, allowing the saw to glide forward with very little effort. After finishing the cut, the surface of the wood looks very smooth and clean. The cut line is straight and even, with very few rough fibers sticking out. This smooth surface shows that the saw teeth are now sharp and well aligned, allowing the blade to pass through wood cleanly without tearing the fibers. Now you can see that the cut made by the saw is very thin and smooth. The cut runs straight, and the surface is quite clean, with almost no roughness or torn fibers. When using the saw blade to cut through a potato, the cut surface also appears very smooth. The blade passes through potato easily, and the cut face looks clean and even, with almost no tearing on the surface. This shows that the saw teeth are sharp enough to make a very fine and smooth cut. Overall, this method of cleaning and sharpening the saw blade works quite effectively. The rust can be removed using simple ingredients and light sanding, which helps restore the metal surface without the need for harsh chemicals. After that, carefully adjusting and sharpening the teeth brings back the blade's cutting ability. With just a few basic tools and a bit of patience, an old and dull saw can be restored to a condition where it cuts smoothly and efficiently again. Finally, to help protect the saw blade after cleaning and sharpening, I can spray a thin layer of WD-40 multi-use product onto the metal surface. This light coating helps create a protective barrier that reduces moisture contact, which can slow down the formation of rust. At the same time, it also helps keep the blade's surface smoother and easier to maintain. With this simple step, the saw blade can stay in better condition for a longer time when stored.